New door fire. Off. Hey, what's up, buddy? Oh man, got the key. Now I can unlock the door. I'm entering the room. Yeah, I got the key. On. I got a key. Yes. Oh, after you. Oh, I got a key. What is that? Door noise. Oh, I got a key. Follow me. Okay, everybody. Where's that guy? can stop me. Found the key. I found the key. Oh, that's for you. Oh, I got a key. Door's open. Guess who does got a key? It's this way. I got a key. Guess. The life of the party has arrived. I found the key. Yep. key. Guys, come on, everybody. Guess who just got a key? New room. Guys, I found the key. Come on, everybody. Hey, what's up, buddy? Oh, I got a key. Papa's opening a brand new door. Who is that guy? Check this out. Guess who just got a key? Door. Oh, I got a key. found the key. Yeah. I wonder when 42 is coming out. Guys, I found the key! Guess who does gotta pee? Welcome to a new room. No lock can stop me. Let me get the door for you. Never accept this. Can you believe it? Look here. You just took it away. Yeah, I got the key. I wonder when 4-2 is coming out. I got a key. Just who's there? That door. Yeah, I got the key. Oh, after you. Guess who just got a key? The life of the party has arrived. Yeah, I got the key. Last one through the door, the right leg. Guess who just got a key? I hope there's nothing scary in here. Oh, hello there. got the key. Now I can unlock the door. Probably opening a brand new door. Yeah, I got the key. Ladies first. Knock, knock, anybody in here? Hey, these hinges are a little rusty. Open sesame. Open sesame. Live, laugh, move. Found the key. Yeah. Any creatures in here? No lock can stop me. That's it in. I got a key. Yes. Let me get the door for you. Found the key. Let me in here. Guys, I found the key. I'm entering the room. got a key. Store. Guys, I found the key. Oh. Rebel Fish Fire. Found the key. Yeah. You like my door impression? Guys, I found the key. Yeah, I got the key. Guys, I found the key. Oh, I got a key. Guys. Wait, we can go this way. I got a key. Yes. Open the door. Aw man, got the key. Now I can unlock the door. Nope. Found the key. Yes. Another room down. Found the key. Yes.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Opening the door.
Can you believe it? Look there. He just took it away.
I got a key. One step closer to victory. Oh, I got a key. Guys. I wonder when 4-2 is coming.
We'll never expect this. Are you listening?
Fantasy TCC. Yeah, I got the key. Like my drawing session? You never expect this. Guys, I found the key. Door noise. Found the key. I hope there's nothing scary in here. Yeah, I got the key. On. Last one through the door, I got mud. Make way, I'm entering the room. Hello? Oh man, got the key. Now I can unlock the door. Nope. Door's open. Oh, I got a key. God. Follow me. No lock can stop me. Probably opening a brand new door. Yeah, I got the key. Opening the door. Welcome to a new room. Yeah, new room. I hope nothing kills me in here. Knock, knock, anybody in here? New room alert. Opening the door. Guess who's always open the door? I got a key. Yes. Wait, we can go this way. Oh, I got a key. Got Hey, what's up, buddy? Oh man, got the key. Now I can unlock the door. Nope. You like my brain touching? นี้จะคือเยอะสุดเลย Oh, I got a key. I just opened the door. Guys, I found the key. Guys, I found the key. Anybody in here? Aw man, got the key. Now I can unlock the door. Nope. Follow me. Guys, I found the key. Come on, everybody. Guys, you jealous? Open the door. This way, everybody. You might want to hear this. Real time. You believe it? Don't you? This is no way. Hello. I hope I don't die in here. You might want to hear this. Hello. Doors all around you. Knock, anybody in here?
Can you believe it? Joker, it's blind.